Pulling into the Johnson Ranch, and it looks just as busy as it did the other day. So, I don't know, let's see what we'll do here. I'm gonna have a fluid plan. So this whole other side, this little linear feature you see across this tree, this line is the trail. That trail is closed today, so I won't be in danger of flying over anyone. And you can see a few exposures, not as dramatic as they were at Parkfield, but there's rocks definitely outcropping along this way. And I think today I can get a good 2D map kind of here, and maybe we can come down and kind of do some, look for some of these bigger rocks and try and model them, and we'll see what we can put together. This is another flyover, the Johnson Ranch open space. This part of the park was conveniently closed off. The trail here, as you can see, kind of under up to the left here. There weren't any people on it. Everything else in this park was packed. It's a beautiful day. This particular site, the boulders that are jutting out of the landscape aren't quite as dramatic as they are at Parkfield, Parkfield window. But this should be another good case study. We have a lot of boulders, good density of rocks here, and a lot of good subjects for further study and further mapping. I actually used Pix4D to process this one, as you'll see later, which makes for pretty convenient volumetric sort of data collection. They make it really quick and easy to select these boulders and see how big they truly are. Lexi is holding up progress today. She's far more interested in sniffing trail scents.
Heading away from the car.
Little dog. Come here, little dog. What's she so muddy for?
You get really muddy, didn't you?
You are. So I'm kind of leaving the Johnson Ranch area. There's still a lot of people out here, so I really can't map in these bigger areas. Really, like, this is kind of what you see though here is just like, I mean, here's 3 outcrops right now. Like, you little one here, you got a little one there, and another one right on, I can't see it on my, somewhere on this hill over here, maybe right there. And that's about all it amounts to. Oh, and there's another yellow boulder out there. But they're not very big, is what I'm getting at. So I think maybe the Parkfield window is probably our best bet to get the best data. So that's where I'm going to probably focus most of my efforts on. Yeah, you really get stuff just like kind of boulders, outcrops like this. You say we're looking for a larger than like the meter size. These are obviously, I mean, there's more to them underneath the ground, but this is just really all we see here. We got back and got a chance to process the imagery. You see we made a pretty good 3D map. Again, this is Pix4D. Makes it real convenient to go use their volume measurement tools and sort of select these rocks using a polygon. You can kind of calculate how much volume there is in any particular thing on the ground. Here's another cool thing I was able to do. So out here in the Parkfield window, there's no reception, and it's really hard to make flight missions when you can't see any map imagery. So what I was able to do is from the flights that I took that day, I was then able to go into my air data and pull those flight logs, and then you can see the actual flight paths. That's these yellow things here. So then I was able to co-locate from these flight paths, I was able to locate the outcrops that I was interested in. And then I can go and I can create a polygon in Google Earth, and that polygon can then be exported directly to my flight controller, and then that's responsible for my flight mission mapping stuff. All right, day 4 out at our site. I'm going to be modeling. I call this the 3 homies. 1, 2, 3 out there in the distance. It's crazy at our site right here. fairly certain I hear coyotes. But it's the middle of the day, so I'm gonna zip my drone over and check that out. But then after that, I'm gonna go map these up here. I'm gonna see how high that is from where I'm at right here, so I can set my altitude for my actual map. There you have it. Here's just a fly up from our spot at the road up to the three homies. I'm doing this so I can get a feel for how high I can safely fly the mission. We just, with everything being so far away and us being at the road and everything being at an elevated position, I really want to get a good feel for how high the highest objects over here are. And then it helps me with my mission planning. And I can plug that in and just, everything's going to be good. Unfortunately, didn't get any GoPro video in between these two, but here's another just fly-in of these rocks. They call it these rocks. I think the gutter gang or the washout gang. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing here. These bigger rocks, like I'm flying up to my highest point to see how high I can fly. This one I fly pretty at a pretty low altitude, just basically I don't know, like 30 or 40 feet above this tree here. Just the closer you fly to the ground, the better imagery, the more higher quality, the higher resolution imagery you get. It just makes for better maps. And for this map, I'll be getting these two boulders, and as well as our car for kind of scale. You can see it kind of flying up here right now. Yeah, it should be cool. One last flyover on our last map site for the day. We actually got a total of 3 pretty big maps, or pretty big areas mapped. This one I get all the way back to the far red rock. You can just see moving like just about out of back left frame, top left frame right now, and moving out of frame. We go there and there's a lot of a big scattering of different kinds of boulders, just all kind of dense throughout here. So I'm excited to see how this one turns out. Then go big take that a better, more in-depth model of that big rock that we saw in the background. Again, this is just absolutely a perfect study area for what we're looking for here. All right, we were able to get some really good data from this just one place here today. Burned through about 6 batteries. No, count down. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. 4 batteries. 4 batteries, and then the wind's kind of calling us off for today. But that gives us a chance to go back and process some maps, and then we should have some really good high quality models to do with. I got that big rock out there is modeled really well, and there's one off in the distance I call them the 3 homies. Those rocks, we modeled one of those really well too. So I can't wait to go see how they turn out. Good job, Micah. Micah got to model her first rock today too.
Woo!
Fun fact before we leave the field for today, in examining some of the literature, actually in the proposal written about this place, I've come to discover that all these rocks sticking out in the Franciscan Mélange are more affectionately known as knockers. So I will be referring to these, my study rocks, as knockers, just to be consistent with the literature here as we move forward. You got me?
Yep.
Go! Okay. Hit it. Yeah!
There we go. There we go.
Oh! Oh!
Fat rock.
We moved down the road a little bit from where I did most of the flying today. So up where I did the flying is up yonder where those kind of cows are. There's the big, that's the big rock that I modeled today. This area has a whole bunch of boulders down in this field too. I think I might do a map of this and get some more 2D data for that, for like distribution sort of information. But anyways, yeah. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, a 3D rendered rock. This beautiful, stunning 3D model of a rock is really useful for you can figure out volumetrics from this. And as you can see from this next rock, This bigger one on the side of the road, you really get a chance to look at, you can see kind of some of the structure inside it. You can see that there's fractures um, propagating through this rock. You can see that they're kind of parallel. Kind of gives you some idea of the stress and strain this thing experienced at some point in its rockly life. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how everything went, and I'm excited to move forward with everything else.